Vermilion Lane. Today we're going to be making turkey burgers, but they're not your grandma's turkey burgers. They're going to be juicy and delicious and a little bit kicked up with a hint of horseradish sauce, which is going to like make an explosion of flavor. And on top of that, we're going to have a fried green tomato. Let's get started. When you are making turkey burgers, the very last thing you want is for them to be dry and dull, because that does not equal delicious. Our turkey burgers, lots of flavor. We're going to be sautéing onions in butter. It's going to be so rich and delicious. And make sure your onions are not diced, but rather minced, because we don't really want to bite into a piece of onion. We just want that delicious onion flavor. We're going to have a ton of herbs in this, and also in that delicious horseradish aioli that we're going to be making together later, and I'll tell you about those in just a sec. We've got mayonnaise for richness and juiciness. Got honey mustard, and I really like boar's head, but this is not a boar's head commercial, so get whatever kind that you like. Horseradish sauce as well as garlic. But first and foremost, let's start with sautéing those onions. Start things off with a hot pan, and to that add just a tablespoon of butter. To that decadent melted butter, we're going to add our onion. I've got 1/3 of a cup of minced onion. Stir that all around. And we want to keep that depth of onion flavor, but kind of get rid of that sharp bite of the onion. So while my onions are cooling, because they are nicely translucent now, I sauteed them for about 10-15 minutes in just butter. Now I've got 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, 1 tablespoon of that rich, delicious honey mustard sauce. And that honey mustard is going to give us a nice balance, because we've got this spicy 1 tablespoon of horseradish sauce, as well as mixed in with that was just a 1/2 teaspoon of minced garlic. This smells so good. Now I have quite a few herbs here because it's spring and I have so many things just popping up in the garden. I've got mint, so lovely, the tiniest bit of rosemary as well as oregano, and there's even some tarragon in there. And so I've already minced up a teaspoon of that. I'm going to mince up a couple more teaspoons for our sauce, which is going to be very similar to what we're putting in the turkey burgers. And then I'm going to hit it with just a couple, I don't know, a couple what? What was that? A couple shakes, I guess, of Hungarian paprika. Okay, so this is actually going to go on our turkey meat. And I'm just going to spoon it on just like that, so it gets all over. And the turkey really needs this kind of liquid sauce to go inside, because we all know we've had a bad turkey burger before. Am I right about it? There is nothing nice about a dry, bland turkey burger. Now I've got those cooled onions that are going to go inside and give us a really delicious sweetness to our turkey burgers. Okay, and that's really all there is to it. So what I like to do is just grab a cookie sheet, line it with wax paper, grab my oh so trusty ice cream scoop, and a heaping ice cream scoop is going to give you a 1/4 pound patty. I'm going to grab another piece of wax paper and meet you back when it's time to get grilling. I almost forgot to tell you, to keep these from sticking to the wax paper, I add a little spray, just a spritz of coconut oil. It's actually really healthy and good for you, and it also just prevents these from sticking to the paper when I go to pull them off later. Here we go. Now it's time to get started on our fried green tomatoes. But first I've got to slice my tomatoes, and I'm going to do so with a bread knife, which is the best way in my opinion to slice tomatoes. I'm going to liberally salt these on both sides. This is not the way my mama taught me to slice a tomato. I need to get my act together. There we go. My daughter found that very funny. Okay, so I'm going to slice these as I mentioned, and then I'm going to salt them on both sides very liberally. because we want these to be well seasoned on their own. Simply lay down paper towel, then place your sliced green tomatoes, then take your kitchen salt. I always work with kosher, that's my favorite. I'm still not quite sure what makes it kosher, but whatever kosher salt is, it tastes so much better than the regular. It's just not quite as salty, and it has a nice flake to it. So I really like to cook with it because I don't wind up over salting my food on accident. Now I just want to salt the other side and let these sit for about 20 minutes to drain that excess water off. They'll fry up a lot prettier that way. I've got yellow curry powder, dry mustard, dry garlic, salt, and pepper. I'm going to mix all of that into my flour. It's going to just put a coating of seasoning and some really earthy flavors. There's also a little cumin in here. All of that will be listed in the description so that you can see how much to use. Alrighty. In my buttermilk, we're going to add a little kick. One of my son's favorite ingredients, sriracha. There's going to be so much flavor on these things. It's going to be really delicious. But so that we don't overdo it, our panko breadcrumbs are unseasoned. These are just out of the box panko breadcrumbs. If you'd like to make your own dried breadcrumbs, check out vermillionlane.com where I have a recipe for those. We start with the dry because we want to take our tomato and get him or her nicely coated in buttermilk. I'm going to drop that with my dry hand in the buttermilk. Now I'm going to take my wet hand, stir my friend around until well coated, drop it in dry. Now I'm in my panko. Again, do a nice firm pat. Right in the middle it goes. It's bubbling away. I know it's perfect. So I like to take a fish turner because it's nice and light and I can easily get right up under my tomato. So I'm going to go about the business of getting several more of these in. Remember not to crowd your pan because you don't want them to start steaming, and you definitely don't want this beautiful coating to fall off. We're going to start our spicy horseradish herbs aioli with lots and lots of really good quality mayonnaise. To my mayo, I'm going to add a variety of herbs. Just go with whatever you have in your kitchen. I've got parsley, oregano, just a tiny bit of thyme and rosemary. Now for the spicy stuff. Horseradish sauce. Be as liberal as your palate will allow. Now we're going to add the juice of 1 lemon, which I'm just going to pour through a strainer. Bit of sugar. This, a nice liberal salt, and plenty of pepper. And as you can see, I've made plenty because hubby really likes to have his creamy horseradish sauce on just about everything, not just the fried green tomatoes and the turkey burgers. This is also going to be a delicious dip for veggies as well. We are going to top this baby off. You're welcome to add cheese, but my family doesn't really want it because all we want is that creamy, spicy and sweet horseradish dressing. Oh my word. Look at that. See you next time.